Hello everybody and welcome to another video. This is Heretic Shadow the Serpent Riders edition. Now, I know this has been on the channel a couple of times already, but what we're going to do here is we're going to episodically play through the game. Now this is quite a large game, so I'm debating whether I'm going to play through the full game with the Shadow the Serpent Riders expansion pack, but we're definitely going to do the first 3 episodes. Provided it goes well anyway, you know. If nobody's watching it, you know, maybe I'll just like do it whenever I feel like it, but we'll get cracking anyway. Here goes nothing. I'm going to set it to the easy difficulty level because, as you know, I'm not the greatest at talking and playing at the same time. I will be playing this completely on keys because this is an old DOS game, so be interested to see what happens. Now, one thing that I'm doing differently today versus what I've done on prior videos is I'm timing myself. The reason I'm timing myself is because obviously a few videos have gone awry because I've run over the amount of time that YouTube lets you do videos straight off a standard channel. So that's obviously not ideal. And it means that, like, if I don't want to add a load of extra data to my channel, which I'm not that bothered about adding, but it involves adding a phone number, and every time I've added my phone number to anything in the last, like, sort of 3 months, 4 months, like, I've started getting rabid phone calls from scammers and bots and everything, and I'm pretty sure the moment I give my phone number to Google, boff, it'll be off on another 3,000 of those databases, and I don't need that. So I've just decided that I'm going to hold off doing longer format videos until either I decide that the channel is, like, has grown big enough that, like, it's worth doing that, or, you know, whatever. Or I just get frustrated doing 10 or 15 minute long videos. But I quite like doing 10 or 15 minute long videos because it means rendering time per video isn't that bad. I know I'm not talking about the game as much as I have in previous videos, but that's because we've had a Heretic on the channel a lot. So I don't feel... oh gosh, I really should have gone through the back door there. I should have gone through the back door. I saw someone coming through the back door. On a postcard to as to what song that's from. Now, the first episode of this game, my gameplay will probably be nigh on robotic because of how frequently I've played this game through. This game was a shareware game initially when it came out back in the 90s, and if you're considerably younger than me, you may not have experienced shareware, but shareware on the PC meant that the first episode or the first sort of segment of a game... oh, I forgot about that guy. The first segment of a game would be made available for free on, like, cover discs normally, and, you know, sometimes you could buy, or, you know, not buy because the games were supposed to be free, but get sent. Oh, I forgot to push the switch, didn't I? So you could sign up for mail order and get, like, floppy disks with shareware episodes of games sent to you just for the postage, that kind of thing, and you were allowed to freely distribute those between your mates. It was kind of a good way for, like, early sort of VGA and EGA era PC developers to sort of actually use, like, the sort of the piracy kind of culture to their own advantage, because it basically meant that, like, you know, anybody could trade, like, the first 10 levels of Heretic or Wolfenstein or Doom or whatever with their mates, and there wasn't any legal problem, and actually like Apogee and ID and everybody were actually able to actively encourage you to do that, and it helped get the word of mouth of their games around. So anyway, I had episode 1 of Heretic for ages, because it wasn't until I think sort of probably sometime around 94, 95 that the whole game became readily available as a packaged game, as opposed to a mail order thing. And if you wanted to mail order a shareware game, basically you were looking at trying to get it shipped from the States, which was a heck of a lot more complicated than it is now with the advent of the internet, and you know, also being an adult and having your own debit card and all that kind of stuff. I thought there was one up there. That is a Tome of Power. Now, we won't use that straight away because we don't really need it on this stage. But that will radically power up your weapons for a short period of time. You'll see me use that later on in the game, because there are some sections where, like, you know, you just don't get out alive if you don't pump your weapons up a bit. I like to pump it. I like to pump your weapons. I don't know why I did that. I'll probably look back on that in two years' time and go, oh god, why did I say that? It's what it is. So I don't know whether we were going to be able to get through the whole of the first 2 levels here, but what we'll do is when we're coming up to 10 minutes on the timer, I'll save the game, and then I can come back to it wherever we got to at the point where I record the second episode, and we're just going to go through like that. You know, again, provided people are enjoying it and watching it, you know, there's no point like battering you guys with 400 videos of something that you're not interested in watching. But we'll see how it goes anyway. Now this is going to pop open, ton of golems. Now we get our 4th weapon here. Now I say 4th weapon, I haven't really shown off the first one, so because we picked this up, we get, this is kind of like the chainsaw equivalent, because this is kind of like, effectively it's fantasy Doom. I don't necessarily feel like that's entirely summarising the whole game, but effectively it's a fantasy answer to Doom. It's a sort of joint development between ID and Raven Software, or I think that's supposed to be pronounced id, but I spent my entire life as a kid and an adult pronouncing it ID. You know, it looked like ID, so I pronounced it as ID, and I think it's actually id, so, you know, my apologies for that. Everybody who's like, it's id, I'm sorry. It's kind of like people who grew up in Australia who pronounce Sega. It's muscle memory. And I think that's the last time that I'm going to be referring to like who developed the game or whatever, because if I talk about who developed the game every single episode for 40 episodes or something, you're going to get pretty sick of it. That would be my guess. So I'll just do this little bit around here, get all the gubbins out of here. They're like landmines, or timed mines, the time bombs of the ancients. And you can hear golems getting all angry because there's golems down here, or golems. Golem's the guy who's like, oh my precious! But, no. Golems. So those are the gauntlets of the necromancer, which is these things, which are like mystical chainsaws. And we're closing in on 10 minutes, so I'm going to save there. And I've got a 2020 live play, because before I was on YouTube I briefly uploaded video to my private Facebook, but 2021 live play, Return, game saved, and peace out for now. I'm just going to cut the video there.